When it comes to growing a garden, the two basic things that's required is first, the sun. That's why I got a hat on. As you can see, there's lots of that here. And the second thing is water.
Last time I was lucky to have help pulling those heavy gears up to the roof to kickstart this garden from scratch. I also had help to install the hardest part, which is to get the pipe straight up so I can get water pumped up here, then drained back down to the lower garden. It's a way to reuse runoff, lighten the load during heavy rains, and to make the setup more sustainable. Oh, and I also came up here on the hottest time of the day just to check out how hot it actually gets up here, and it ran about 7 to 10 degrees hotter than the lower garden. We also got those wood pieces of 2x4s up here to cut, and these were placed under the flood tables to keep them elevated so they don't have direct contact with the roof. This would help the roof dry quicker when there's rain. Now that the setup is in place,
well, we're about to find out together whether I did it right to get water up here. So let's find out. Let's get this hose on. Make sure to get that gasket on there. And screw it on. Voila! I'm quite nervous about this. Here we go. Okay. Okay, dripping. I guess that just means I need to put more tape on there. Let's just check what it looks like up there. I heard that sound. Let's go! This is a jet. Okay, let's see.
Now that there's water up here, it finally feels real. This is where my dream sky garden truly begins. And I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. So thank you.
Oh, I got water.
Okay, water's working. Now I'm going to show you how I got to this point. Let's backtrack a little bit. Right now I'm cutting the pipe for the water line. And this is for the drain line.
Yay!
Now I'm going to use the Christie's Red Hot Glue to glue the fittings together. One of you asked if this glue is safe for a food garden. This type is actually used in drinking water systems, so I assume that's safe for garden plumbings. Just make sure that it is fully dried before you use the water, like the instruction says, to give it 24 hours to cure before running water through it.
Gotta use my gloves, otherwise I can't get it tight. Okay. This thing needs to connect up to here.
Now that you've seen how I installed water, it's now time for the next task.
Hey guys, it is now the next day. The next thing means that I can start planting now that there's water up here. I'm not gonna go crazy right now, just a few pots that needs to really be transplanted. So that means I can start making some soil up here. I decided to just bring up coco coir, just like dry, blocks to rehydrate up here and to mix my own soil, because it just seems like it's easier that way rather than bringing up multiple times of these potting mixes. I think this is the best solution I can come up with right now. If you guys have any ideas, always drop in the comments below. Always, you know, like hearing your thoughts and your ideas. Sometimes it really sparks something new for me too. For now, yeah, basically this is the best solution I came up with, is just to mix my own soil up here. And we'll see how it goes, but let's start by rehydrating these cocoa coir, these blocks. I got them sent to me by VermisTerra, and I'm also going to be using their worm castings in the mix. So I'll show you what I'll be doing in a few hours after we get them hydrated, and we'll come back during the cooler time of the day to start planting. I'm just rotating it around a little bit just to get all the sides wet so that this would break down easily. Okay, we'll come back in a few hours. We're back. It's now 6 p.m. Look at the sun up here, and look how beautiful it is out here. Wow, this totally had absorbed all the water, so now I'm just going to break it apart, and we get to do some mixing here. And if there's parts that are still a little dry in the center because I didn't put enough water earlier, I can just go ahead and add a little bit more. I just didn't want to go overboard with the watering earlier because it might get this a little too wet and it'll just kind of be hard to work with. The thing I'm going to be putting in is some perlite to help aerate the soil. And I want to get this a little wet because it's too dusty. I'm just going to go on a mist setting. Or maybe not. Spraying it everywhere. Just go shower. Don't breathe. Okay, I want to put it down really low. Just hose it down a little bit if it's too dry and it flies everywhere. This stuff is actually not good for you to breathe in. But I think this mix, it's going to be much lighter to work with. Generally speaking, this is basically just a rule of thirds kind of a proportion here. Next, I got some vermiculite. This is also light. It aerates the soil, but it also helps to retain moisture. Okay, next, let's add some nutrients. So, worm castings. Here we have VermisTerra worm castings. Actually, I can just tear this. Yeah, okay. Next, I'm just going to add a little bit of fertilizer in here. This is Climate Guard fertilizer. It's like granules, so this is a slow release fertilizer. Oh God, stay away, stay away. Let's wet it down a little bit. And check this out. This is something I just ordered, and I'm pretty excited about this because this is more minerals I get to add into this. Now, this is not a gardening thing, this is just my thing because I like to add more minerals to it. And this one is kelp seaweed. You know how there's so much nutrients and minerals in seaweeds, but this one is for dogs because it means there's low sodium in here. And this seems to be a better way and a more budget-friendly way to do it. It's still not that cheap, but it's still cheaper than like super high quality kelp for humans. Yeah, let's check it out. Okay, this is kelp, guys. This is kelp. Let's try it. Yeah, just a little bit salty, not bad at all. Okay, it's going in. I just eyeball this stuff, you guys. This part to me is like painting. And now the fun part. This is a compost crank. It is handmade in the US, but I'm just gonna use this to mix. Wow, it's like mixing a big batch of batter, like I'm making cake. Okay, this is definitely easier than mixing by hand. I mean, I don't have a pitchfork because that would work too. Also, I plan to making a compost area here, so this thing can act as a dual purpose. Look, I totally forgot. I got some SD Microbes BioVast VermiCompost, and this is some good stuff in here too. So a little more vermicompost. It looks like really rich black gold. Like it looks like really good. Oh, there's worms in there. Compost. Look at this little thing right here. There's a worm. Right there, see that? All right, so let me just explain to you guys what this gray water system is going to look like. Each flood table has a hole already pre-drilled since these are used. So there's a pre-drilled hole that I am going to attach the PVC, either called a connector or an adapter, and it's just going to be glued onto here and then connecting to the PVC pipe all the way out there to that pipe, taking it down to the lower garden. Yeah, it's just going to end up out there watering a portion of the garden downstairs. So yeah, it'll be a really good way of getting some gray water out of here, and especially when it rains, I'll be able to collect rainwater, guide it out to the garden that way. One of you guys in the comments mentioned something about heavy rain and what if it clogs up. So thank you for bringing that to my attention, because that actually made me thought of adding maybe some sort of a mesh down here to block too much soil from getting into there, because I am using a 3/4 inch PVC, so I think that should be plenty to not clog it. But if it was clogged, let's just say, it is pretty easy to remove the PVC and clean it out. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention earlier, because I got too excited testing out that water right away. It's actually a good idea to flush the pipes first. Just let the water run for a few minutes to clear everything you don't want out of the pipes. In my case, I would just drain it out through the rain gutter. And about that glue that I used, it's the same kind you use for water plumbing, so it's safe to use. It is now time to pot this up. This is my beautiful white eggplant. This is Japanese variety. And definitely you can see it needs to be transplanted. The roots are showing for a long time now. And I'm going to be potting this up to a 5 gallon, and this is pretty much going to live out its life in this Epic Gardening grow bag. For watering right now, I'm just going to use an Oya. This is Grow Oya to do self-watering. It going like that. Yeah. Just like that. That's it. Even though I have the Oya as a self-watering system, I still need to help it kickstart with getting a little bit of water in, because remember how I explained that when the materials are so dry, it actually repels water. That's why I needed to give it a good amount of watering here the first couple of days. But after that, the Oya should be able to do its job, especially with plants this big. The root system is actually as deep as where the base of the Oya. So this one here actually potted, I think maybe 5 days ago, between 5 to 7 days ago. And this is a whole new section that's growing, guys. I only top watered a couple times here, and then after that I was relying fully on the Grow Oya. It's wet right now on the surface because I didn't want to waste water when I was washing my hands, and I just kind of like used it in here. But yeah, this whole section is new growth from like the past 2 or 3 days. It's so crazy how fast this is growing, because eggplants are just sun-loving, the heat and the sun, and you give it amount of enough water in the soil and some nutrients. Oh my goodness, I can see changes in days up here. This is crazy for me, who's used to growing in a more slower pace, part shade kind of a garden. Yeah, I'm so excited about this whole sky garden journey here, and I'm so thankful that you guys are joining me along in this crazy adventure. Thank you so much, you guys. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and if you would like to join us and follow along this journey, you can go rewatch the previous episodes over at the Sky Garden series that I created. I'll link it down below for you. And thank you so much, you guys, for your comments and concerns and ideas for what I should name this place, because that is what I asked you in the previous video. I'm really trying to be mindful and not go crazy with growing too many things, but rather have the things that are growing here have the space and the sunlight for it to really expand and thrive up here. So that's really the intention behind this rooftop garden and the thought behind how, what kind of materials to use and how to run the system to make it more sustainable and safe as possible. So I do really appreciate your concerns and your comments, and some things that you guys have mentioned really have been reminders and inspirations for me to keep improving on this garden, So thank you again. And if you'd like to support this channel, please go check out WENDILAND.com for plants and seeds. I really would appreciate that. Until the next video, I will see you there and you'll find out what I'm tackling next in this rooftop sky garden that I'm starting from scratch. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.